Okay, hello everyone. This is going to be a video where I explain how you can make your own AI. I've had a lot of colleagues ask me, I want to implement an AI into this program, website, anything you can think of. Because I have an AI project of my own, they asked me if I could integrate my AI into their stuff. Which implementing an AI using what I wrote from scratch myself would be probably the worst option you could go with. If you want to implement an AI from scratch, it would mainly be for guiding the AI to particular answers, using certain dialect that you wanted to specifically use, or any of those reasons. But the main one being security. Because if you're willing to take the normal route, you can basically have ChatGPT responding to you and your AI. ChatGPT, you can use basically you can use ChatGPT to respond to all of your requests instead of using a bootleg AI that you coded yourself. I will dive into this further. It's one of the first topics that I'll be going over, but I just want to give an overview. This is basically what we're going to be talking about. The best AI options out there, using an API key, making a local AI using Hugging Face and its data sources, or I will go very deep into how an AI actually works and show an example of my own implementation, which is an AI that I wrote completely from scratch, trained on this very computer, which is an AMD laptop. It's not exactly strong, but AI doesn't need a lot of resources to be trained. It simply needs a lot of time, but you can trade one for the other. But for now, let's get into the basics of it. Probably the solution that everyone wants, the easiest outcome for everyone, is I want a basic AI. I don't want to dive deep into any of these topics. How do I get it to work? So for that example, your solution is going to be using API keys. Of course, I'm logged out, so my keys aren't public. But basically, what you do is you're the user or a customer or anyone that's using your service will interact with your interactable service, will send the user's request to any AI website. In this case, I showed OpenAI or ChatGPT's model. ChatGPT will then process the request and then send the answer back, and it will look like your service is actually using its own AI. The people, they can't really tell the difference. And the code isn't something complicated either. You just have to set up the environment. Basically, just have an empty folder with this. Once you get your AI key, it will have your project, and then you put your key right there. If you get errors, it's probably because you don't have the correct libraries installed. This is probably what you would want to install most likely. It's the one for OpenAI, and then you would go here. This is basically a very bare bones version of it. Everything might not be working because this is just an example. So you select your model. This is the best model by far for the average user because you use tokens when you get a response, and that actually determines the cost of using this service. So it's best to go with a lightweight model because that's probably going to respond to any request or anything the user is going to need. This other stuff is accessories basically, but you can set these when you use an API key. You can explain to the AI what role it needs to fulfill, what the user is. It's fully customizable, and basically that's it. You send the user sends a message, the AI responds. This is just good practice to catch errors. You make your AI right here. An example of the setup that I've used, I actually used an API key to from up to have all the some characters in my Minecraft world, and so they can actually interact. Well, not interact. They can only speak, but they use an AI to receive information and then output the information. But it's limited to just chatting unless you're good at coding and you put in a lot of time. But for most people, you just need a AI to respond to your user. This is basically probably the simplest and easiest way to do it. Next, I'm going to be explaining how to get a local AI on your computer where it uses no Wi-Fi